The following presentation is brought to you by kmmedia.pro. Please visit kmmedia.pro for more information. Now stay right where you are as we present. Welcome to Positive Talk Radio, evolving ideas one conversation at a time. Great guests, dynamic stories and interviews, plus new thoughts on a wide range of topics and concepts. I hope that you'll hang with me, Kevin McDonald, my friends, and of course, you. As together we work to understand why we are all here and what we can do to make our world a better place for all of us. To be happy, be kind, and live in peace together. Yep, that's Positive Talk Radio. Welcome you, each person that happens to be listening today. I want to thank all of you for being here. We've got a great guest for you today, and we're going to have an awesome discussion. Carri Betts is with me, and she is a behind the power queen, if you will, and she works with Allison Roberts, and she's pretty awesome. And you know, I want to start off by asking you what you asked the universe for right before the show began.
Well, right before the show began, I called in all my angels, guides, masters, and my ancestors and invited them to be here with us all today and for them to guide Kevin and I to talk about what it is that you may possibly need to hear today.
Very good. And I made this sarcastic comment. Well, great. We'll talk about the Seattle Seahawks because they need all the divine help they can get. But that's setting that aside. And I thank you for that. And in your intuitive work, do you feel them around you today?
Yes, and as I'm getting ready to speak, I can feel somebody right over my left shoulder right away. And, you know, I feel them with me every day. And do I always trust them? Sometimes it's a little difficult, right? And I think we all go through that no matter how in tune we are with them and the universe. But I have lots of evidence that the universe has always had my back.
And Beth says, hello, magical healer. And I don't think she's talking about me. Must be talking about you. And John, who was on last week, and he and Christine were both here, and they did a great show. And I'm going to be putting it up today as a podcast. I know it's on YouTube, but I took the weekend off. Shame on me. And then Michelle, who's also been on the show, is looking forward to our discussion today. And so thank you guys. You know, I keep saying this, but it bears repeating. It is, well, actually, let me ask you as a question. Carri, is it as much fun as I think it is to be around a bunch of people that are so loving and caring?
Yes, it is. It's pretty amazing. And hello, everybody. I'm so happy you're all here tuning in. And John, I can't wait to see you tomorrow when you get here. John is making his way down for a visit for the week. And then I'm driving back up with him so that I can go visit my daughter and grandson in Maine. So looks like John and I have an annual trip now because we did this same trip last year.
Now, you can't possibly have a grandchild.
I sure do. He turns 1 on Sunday.
So you must, that's amazing because you look terrific, by the way.
Thank you. It's because I'm a fairy.
Now, it says that you are a magical fairy of wonder. Describe exactly what that means to you.
You know, I've always had a deep connection to the fairies, even as a child. You could say they were my imaginary friends.
That weren't so imaginary, by the way.
They weren't so imaginary. Um, and I do consider myself a magical fairy, because I like to have fun in my healings. Um, I have a tendency to take a heavy situation and have my clients walk away feeling lighter. Um, and I'm always finding the light within the darkness.
That's a gift, by the way. And it can be hard to do. How do you do that?
Lots of soul searching, my friend, and lots of conversations with the universe. And, you have to do something with your pain. You have to find some way to get out of your own way. And that's how I was led to healing with flowers. I was always I've always been connected to nature, but let's face it, your 20s, you are, most of us are being rebels, and we're not being in that spiritual realm, right? So you step away from it for a little while. And I was led back to it when I lost my stepdad to suicide, in 2013. And that put me in a really, really dark place, as you could imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I did to work through that grief, because I didn't know what to do with all of the pain, is I started to dig in the dirt, and I started planting flowers. And the first year of building those flower beds, there was a lot of listening to music and screaming and crying and just pouring my energy into the earth for her to heal me. And as time went on, I was able to not listen. I didn't have to have my music in. I could be out there and just be with nature.
And by the way, Carrie
And
is the light of
I
the
could
in the
start to
darkness. Go
hear
ahead.
my flowers talk.
You
Oh, thank you,
could.
Christine. Um, yeah, so I know it sounds kind of crazy that I could hear my flowers talking.
Carrie, you have to understand that with the type of show I do, that's just kind of normal.
Well, I think I'm feeling that on this show. I feel very comfortable saying that. Um, and if somebody wants to judge me for it, that's fine. Um,
No, no judgment. No need for anybody to judge you. You are a beautiful soul,
Thank you.
and people that I've come to a place in my young life that people that are less than or vibrate at a lesser level and stuff, I just bless them and let them go on. They don't need to infect my energy.
Same here. I've learned that, definitely. So you just have to start paying attention when you're out in nature, and paying attention to, hey Gretchen, um, paying attention to, what are you feeling when you're out there? What are your thoughts? What are you feeling when you're outside? And what are you drawn to? What tree is calling to you? What flower is calling to you that you are drawn to? Because it's their energy that is picking up on your thoughts, and they are wanting to help you heal. I'll never forget the day that I was really upset that somebody said something about my hair, because that has been a trigger that I have been working through over the past 2 years with Allison. And I went out to my flowers one day, and I started to deadhead Um, one of my, it was a crane's bill, and it belongs to the geranium family. And all of a sudden, as I was out there, I heard, "You're so beautiful. Don't let those words affect you." And I looked up the essence of that flower, and their essence helps you instill self-worth in yourself.
Cool.
And I'll just never forget that moment. It was so powerful. And the more that I paid attention like that, the more I could start hearing them, "Well, we want you to help other people with this. Don't just keep this all to yourself."
That's
So
awesome.
that's what I do. And fairies
Mhm.
are the angels of nature, right? We oversee the animals and the plants. We're here to protect Mother Nature. So that is another reason why I have been told that I am a fairy and that I believe that I am a fairy.
Well, you are interested in helping mankind and helping our plant kingdom and utilizing the essence of them to help us. And a lot of people don't understand or don't know what flower essences are or what they do. Could you speak about that just a little bit?
I could. Flower essences is capturing the energy of the plant, and it's known as vibrational energy healing. So, the energy of the flower is captured in water, right? Because water holds memory. So, the whole process of it is putting flowers in the water and letting them sit out in the sun for about 3 to 4 hours. Or for me, it's whenever my intuition says they're ready. Um, it only takes a tiny bit to create a shift. And the shift is so subtle that, you'll be taking your flower essences for about 3 or 4 days, and all of a sudden, you'll notice a little difference in your energy. And you kind of have to stop and ask yourself, like, what have I been doing differently? And all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I've been taking those flower essences. It's just so gentle. And that's another reason why I love to incorporate them in my work.
I've worked with people that have used flower essences, and one of them is the animal communicator, and she uses it to heal. Uses them and sometimes in a combination of two or three, and that sort of thing to help the animal friends that she has or her clients' animals and stuff. So that's it's really is a remarkable natural thing that is energy based. By the way, Karen says hi, Jerry says hi, and and then there's Karen again, and they do raise your frequency. That's right. So it's really they're not out there enough, and but you can buy them almost everywhere, can't you?
You can find them. A lot of the metaphysical stores carry them. You can order them online. And you can make your own if you want to. There's plenty of um, videos on YouTube on how to do it. And I encourage anybody that's going to try to make their own, go with your intuition. Your intuition is not going to fail you on guiding you to make them yourself.
And can we talk about intuition just a little bit?
We sure can.
There is it's it's really interesting to me because I guess labels and titles mean something to certain people. And if you want to talk about whether you're intuitive, whether you're psychic, see, for me, I consider them one and the same. And or a medium or any of the other arts, I consider, them all just energy. Is that how you view it, or do you view it as different things?
I for myself, I view it like you view it. It's all energy, and it's just learning how to tap into that energy and trusting it, right? And I'm not big on labels either, Kevin. It's not my thing. Can I do mediumship? Yes, I can. But I don't consider myself a medium. I don't consider myself a psychic. Um, I solely use my intuition. And if I was to give myself a title, it would be healer.
Now, when you say you solely use your intuition, are they not the same thing, just applied a little bit differently? It's like driving a Honda versus
A
a
Mack truck,
Hyundai.
right?
Yeah,
A
yeah.
Honda versus a Mack truck, right? Um, people, when people contact me, it's not necessarily to hear from people on the other side. Like like they do, like they contact Christine solely to hear from people on the other side. When people contact me, it's more to get insight about what's going on with them. And if somebody on the other side happens to come through, I'm more than happy to give the message if I'm receiving it. Does
So
that make
so
sense?
yeah, it does. But let me dig deeper here a little bit. And
Okay.
is it is it due to your intention? Your intention is to use your gifts to heal, where someone else may find that their gifts, their intention is to use the healing abilities through talking to their dead relatives and stuff. And so, is it a matter of just? So to me, it's kind of like it's just a matter of your intuition and your intention of what you feel like you were put here to do.
I agree with you 110% because I feel that everything is intention, right? When I make, like when I make my pyramids, for instance, right? My resin pyramids,
Right.
um, it's all intention on healing that person who is going to receive it, right? When I make them, I don't always know the healing properties of the things that are going in the pyramid. I intuitively pick what I am drawn to based on what I'm feeling from that person's energy. And I am always shocked still, even though I've been making these for almost, 2 years now. I'm always shocked when I look up the properties of everything and it's exactly what that person needs. And I love it when they contact me after, when they receive it and they send me a picture and they're just smiling from ear to ear. And they're always like, this is so perfect. It's exactly what I needed.
So let's talk about the story of that. Somebody that you and I both know came to you and mentioned something about that. Tell that story.
Yeah, so it was late one night and I was laying in bed and Allison Roberts sent me a text message of a pyramid. She sent me a picture of an organite and said, "Do you make these?" And I was like, "I don't, but I surely will now." And that is what led me to start making them. And mine are not necessarily organite. Mine are truly based on bringing nature into your home to provide continuous healing for you.
Can you've got a couple there? Can you show one?
I do. I have this one here. This one here really helps. This one will really help somebody to embrace their unique gifts, to help heal their trauma, keep them grounded, to release their trauma, and to help them move forward in their life.
So when you have that, where do they put it? How do they apply it?
Some people sleep with them next to their bed. Some people put them on their altars. And some people even meditate with them. And I've even, it's funny, Christine, in fact, I had one on my altar one day when I was working on her, and I was really drawn to pick it up and use it during the healing session that I was doing on her. It is now in her possession.
She wouldn't give it back?
She had me ship it to her. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool.
And she needed it. And just like I did a healing session the other day on somebody, and during it, I actually saw one of the pyramids that I had made, that I hadn't even put for sale yet. And it came into my vortex while I was healing. And I knew that person needed it. And so, of course, I mailed it to them.
So do you have to have a session with somebody before you can create a pyramid for them? Or can you do it remotely? Or can you do it before you've even met them?
I do not need to have a session with somebody. Some people have given me a word to base building their pyramid on. Some people just say, whatever your intuition tells you, and I give you permission to tap into my energy so that you can feel that. So I can tap into, as long as you're giving me permission, if I think about you, I'm feeling you. I am feeling into your energy. It's just the way it works with me.
How does that feel for you?
Honestly, it feels pretty good, because a lot of times, sometimes, yes, it can be like, oh, this person's experiencing a lot of anxiety, but I've also learned not to take on people's stuff and carry it with me throughout the day. So yep. I know how to clear and protect myself. But I know that I'm providing healing for them. So it fills my heart. And just like when a lot of times, let's say I'm on my walk in the morning. Wiley and I are on our walk, and all of a sudden I think of somebody. Let's just say this happens a lot with Beth, for instance, and I know she's on here right now. I'll be walking along, and I may hear a song, or she pops into my vortex. I know I need to reach out to that person that day. And just even if it's like, hey, how you doing? Here's this song that I heard. And it's always at a time that person needs somebody reaching out to them. And the song game that Beth and I play, she sends them to me too, because, either her dog tells her that I need to hear it, or she just feels that it's a song for me that I can relate to. Um, and it's so magical, right? It's just magical. There's nothing else I can say about that.
I got to ask you a question because I get messages through music. First of all, by the way, Michelle says that Carrie has been a tremendous support for me on several occasions. And so that's, by the way, Carrie, that's one of the higher compliments that you can actually receive from someone.
Yeah, it means a lot coming from Michelle too. Thank you so much.
And Carrie's pyramids bring healing and comfort. She made one for me that represents my father. It brings me comfort each time I look at it. That's that. Now that, my friend, is a gift.
Yeah, I'm getting all emotional.
It's a gift that keeps on giving, because every time she looks at it, it gives her comfort.
I love
Which,
that so much. It means so much to me to be able to do that for people.
how do you feel about the fact that you can have an impact on so many people's lives? There's a bunch of people watching the show, and they're doing it because they care for you and because you have meant something to them in their lives. That's got to feel very, very positive.
Yes, it does. It's it feels great and it brings me joy, which is actually one of those feelings that I've had to work really hard on being able to accept feeling joy. Um, and so sometimes it feels a little overwhelming to feel so much love, but it's so amazing at the same time to be able to have such an impact.
It's funny that we all, not all of us, but most of us, take a moment in time when somebody is greeting us and making us feel like that we're really special, and then we turn around and poo poo it and say, "Oh no, you say that to everybody," and I'm not really. Oh gee whiz, and all that. Why don't we accept a compliment and just receive it?
For me, uh, it was something I really had to work through. Um, for me, it came down to no self worth, no self love. Um, I mean, I literally used to wake up every morning saying, I am a piece of shit. Like, that is how I used to wake up every morning. And that is one of the things that I've been able to work through working with Allison. She has given me the tools to be able to rewire my brain. And I know where mine stems from. Mine stems way back from childhood. You know, I grew up in an alcoholic home, and I always felt like it was my fault that my dad drank. And so that made me feel, oh, can you relate, Kevin? I just saw your face go.
Well, no, I was just thinking to myself, it's like, oh come on, he was drinking long before you were born.
He
Um,
totally was. But you know, we make up those stories in our head when we're
we,
children.
Yes, we do. Yes,
And
we do. And see, it was no more your fault than if you would have punched him and he flew to the moon. It just, to the moon with the Alice. That's from an old show way back when. But so that was an insidious thing that your brain and you did to yourself because none of it was true.
none of it was true. None of it. So, we just have to learn to, we need to learn to accept all parts of ourselves, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? Because we may be made of light, but we all have darkness inside of us.
That's true to an extent, but um, they're and Allison, the work that she does, and she gets down deep to help you explain to yourself why everything that is negative that you've been talking about yourself is wrong, and it's not only wrong, it is destructive to you.
Yes, and it's all the shame and guilt that causes us to stay in that cycle of I'm not good enough, I am a piece of crap, that brings in all these negative thoughts. And I remember when I first started working with Allison, and she's like, you are smothered in shame, girl. And I was like, no, I'm not. I don't have any shame. What are you talking about? And
Oh, you shouldn't have said that, because then she goes down deep.
yeah, and it was about 2 weeks later, and I was driving in my car, and the shame bus came flooding in, right? Ran me right over, almost off the road, in fact, right? And I was like, oh, this is what she's talking about.
Yeah, yes, indeed. And it's the older I get. This is one thing that really would like your help, and I'll get your help, and then I'm going to ask Allison the same question, and that is, we look at our moms and dads and our uncles and people in authority and people that have been around and stuff, and we tend to put them on a pedestal, and we put them higher than they deserve to be, and higher than us. When in reality, they're no better than us. And a lot of times we hold things to be true about our parents and stuff that were blatantly false. And that you are as smart as they are. If your dad said you're stupid, well, you ended up being smarter than him. So why do you think it is that we put people on pedestals who have no business being there?
Boy, that's a good question, Kevin. You know, what I'm hearing is that it's just the way that society has taught us that that's the way it's supposed to be. You
Yep.
respect your elders, you don't question them, you do what they expect of you.
Oh boy, some of us failed at that. I sure did.
Well, I sure did too. That's for sure.
And I got stories and of stuff but at the same time, I the older I get, the more I have to laugh at us and how silly that we can be, because we all, every one of these people that is on this call or on this show right now, John, Beth, Michelle, Christine, yourself, you guys are extraordinary human beings. Um, and it's not that you're any different than anybody else. You just choose to let your extraordinariness, is that even a word? Let it out. You don't keep it under a bushel anymore, and you help each other when you have those moments. It really is a cool thing that you guys got going on. I got to tell you.
It really is. And let me tell you, it's so freeing when you can just embrace your gifts and stop hiding them away, right?
Yep.
For so many years, that's what I did because, let's face it, a lot of people in this world are like, well, you're crazy. And now it's like, I walk into the vet's office with my dog and I'm like, listen, this is what I'm feeling. This is what my other colleague is feeling. This is what I want you to look at. Like, and I don't care if they look at me like I have three heads. Because I have learned you need to go with your intuition on everything. And when you fight it, you don't feel good.
Say that again, because that's an important statement you just said.
About trusting your intuition, no matter
Yes.
what, and
Yes.
how when you don't trust your intuition, it's going to show up in your body. You're not going to feel good. Um, for me, when I'm resisting my intuition, that's when I find myself the most miserable. I'm crying a lot. I feel shaky inside a lot. And so over the years, I've learned that that's what it is, that I'm not listening to my intuition. I'm not listening to my guides. And now I listen.
Do you ever now? I have conversations with my guides because I think they're pretty down to earth and they're pretty funny. And when they do something great for me, I always say thank you. And they appreciate that. I think. Do you have when you have communications with your guides? Do you have conversations with them?
Sometimes I do. Well, yeah, I do. Who am I kidding? Yes, I have conversations with them, right?
Atta girl, atta girl.
I have a tendency to be able to have conversations with just about anybody. So, yes, and sometimes I may not think it's my guides, right? I may just think that I'm having a conversation with myself,
Yes.
but they're listening.
Do you think that your guides and let me see if I can word this correctly. When your guides are talking to you and your angels are talking to you and you've got your yourself that is also there as well, is your higher self um conferring with your guides and the other angels to come up with how to get the part that's in you, because I believe that we don't all carry all of our energy with us into this life, that we are also on the other side and our higher self is on the other side. So, are they conferring to try and figure out? So, your higher self is saying, I don't know what the deal, I can't get it through her head that this is what we should be doing. So, is that a collaborative effort between everybody?
I wholeheartedly believe that they all work together. And whenever I'm not listening, I mean, they get pretty bossy with me. And you can imagine that I can be pretty bossy myself, right? So it only makes sense. Um, and usually it shows up in my elbows when I'm not listening and they're nudging me. That's where I'll feel it in my body.
Gotcha. And then do you listen more intently?
I do. Um, and sometimes, they'll even, even our animals, right? Our animals are great guides too for what's going on with us.
Yep.
Um, so instead of going down the rabbit hole when I think something's wrong with my dog, I try to pay attention to what it is that's going on with him and how it's a reflection of what's going on with me.
And I think I've told this story before, and I'm not sure if you and I discussed it, but I had a beautiful dog, a Australian Shepherd Labrador mix, and I had a friend who's a psychic medium, and also communicates with animals and can feel the energy. And my dog wasn't feeling well, and it was worrying me. He wasn't eating, and so I was talking to her on the phone, and I just said, "Can you feel into Crockett and to see what's going on with him?" And she did, and she said, "Oh, Kevin, I'm sorry. He's got a tumor in his stomach." And so I took him to the vet. Indeed, he did. So I truly know that you and others and everybody in your it seems like everybody in your group is a good animal communicator, and which is a paramount of being a communication with everything, because they are very true and honest and forthright. There's no ego and they don't lie, and all of those things. So it's a great, if you can become a great animal communicator, you can be a communicator for everybody.
Yeah. I believe that, and I mean, I'm not always the best when it comes to my own animal, right? Like I'll freak out. I'm not going to lie, right? We just went through an episode a little while ago, and it's funny. He had an ear infection and an eye infection. And somebody in our group asked him, what is it that you don't want to hear and you don't want to see?
Ooh. What he
And
said?
he said that he didn't like that there was a certain person around that wasn't listening to me, and he was feeling like that person was taking advantage and not caring about my feelings. And then I just kind of dove deeper, and I'm like, well, what do I not want to hear? What do I not want to see right now? Right?
That's pretty cool.
It's
That's really cool. So now at the beginning of the show,
yes.
we asked the guides, or you asked the guides before you came on, for them to kind of guide us in this conversation. Do you feel like they've been doing that so far?
I do feel like they've been doing that.
Do we get a thumbs up or I don't know.
I think they feel pretty good about the conversation and how it's been going.
Well, that's good, because I firmly, we were talking earlier about, your perception of how other people view you. I gave that up a while ago, because for a long time, because my mother's a fundamentalist Christian, so talking to mediums is like of the devil, and meditation is like of the devil. You're not allowed to do any of that kind of stuff. And so I kind of tippy-toed into it. Now I'm all full blown. It's like, it's just energy, kids. Matter of fact, I'm going to have a scientist on. He's going to say, it's just energy, kids.
I love it. It is just energy. That's all it is.
And we all have it. It's universal. Energy never dies. And it completes us. And we haven't gotten to the point where we can measure it yet, but I believe in my lifetime we'll get to that point. I hope.
I believe it. They're doing a lot. I mean, look at all the stuff they've been doing this year, with the CERN machine, the hydro collider, right? They're doing all kinds of testing about the timelines and how energy moves. So I too believe it. I believe we'll probably see it within the next 5 to 10 years, right? I don't think it's going to be much longer.
I hope so, because I would love to be able to sit in front of a group of people and say, listen, everybody, it's just energy. And there are some people that can pick up on certain vibrational energy at certain levels, and that's how they do the readings. It's not a matter of I got the biggest kick out of somebody. They said, well, do they talk to you? It's like, well, no, they don't have any vocal cords. So they don't talk to us, but they communicate with us telepathically and through energy and with pictures and with all of that. And you know that to be true. Yes?
I do know that to be true. It's how animals communicate with us: pictures, words, and feelings. It's all telepathic. And it's the same thing with humans, right? If you can pick up on the energy, you may even read somebody's thoughts. You may be sitting next to somebody and you may actually hear their thought. The animals taught me that. And then I started paying attention to the humans, right? And yeah, there's a lot of times I'm picking up on other people's thoughts when they're sitting next to me, right?
So also, you are an author. You've got a book out. You got the second book coming out, Behind the Power.
Yes.
And you're going to be a speaker at that Behind the Power in October. What are you going to talk about there?
This year, I am speaking on finding home within yourself. So the definition of home is a safe haven, um, a place to be your true, authentic self, and a comfort zone, right?
Yep.
So
It's so interesting that we are not, oftentimes we don't, and I don't know if it's we don't value ourselves, but we certainly don't appreciate who we are, that we can be authentic and real all the time. So we hide ourselves.
we do hide ourselves. I'm really, really good at it.
You're a semi-professional at it.
I really am. Like Allison will tell you, I've got to kick her butt so she stops hiding. Um, but,
And
hiding kept me safe when I was a kid. So it's comfortable.
it's a learned behavior that can exist for an entire lifetime.
Yes. And we have to relearn how to step out of that comfort zone.
Exactly. Now, Behind the Power is an event that Allison Roberts and company is putting together, and that's going to be October 19th, 20th, and 21st in Atlanta, Georgia. There are two ways you can do it. You can buy tickets to go to Atlanta, or you can do it virtually. I highly encourage you to go to AllisonRoberts.com and get all the information that will benefit you, that you can go to this event that's going to be really remarkable, with so many people that care for each other and understand the human condition and are willing to work with each other, because that's a really part of what you guys do, isn't it?
It is. We've all 13 of us that will be speaking at the event. We've all overcome some pretty significant traumas in our lives, and we just want to be able to empower and inspire others to join us on the journey and to heal themselves and to know that they're not alone. And that's right, Jerry. It is a judgment-free zone. There isn't one person that is going to judge you with what you're going through. We just want to help you.
Well, we're all going through something, and as we go wander through life, it can be difficult for some handle it better than others, but it can be dark and can be really difficult. So when you went through your dark period, what got you out of it? Do you remember?
Which dark period?
Okay. There was a period in time when occasionally you would go into dark periods. Do you
Yeah.
remember what it was that pulled you out of it
Like,
each time?
I really feel like each time it was just a matter of waking up and saying, I don't I don't want to feel this way anymore. I don't want to live this way anymore. What do I need to do to get out of it? Um, and there's there's been many different things, like with my stepdad, it was the flowers that helped me overcome that. Um, Overcoming my drug addiction was more about my kid needing her mom. Um, and also, I fell chronically ill from it. So there was that. And when I was in a really dark place with my chronic illness, um, that was also the time that I had lost my stepdad. And I remember saying to myself, listen, he didn't like seeing you sick like this. It broke his heart. And now he's on the other side, Carrie, and he can help you more than he ever could when he was here on this planet. And you need to take charge and heal yourself. And that is exactly what I did.
And how long now have you been drug free, as it were?
Oh,
You know, when you have to add it up and you can't even remember how long it's been
it's
been a
been a
while.
while. It has been a while. It's been at least 10 years, at least.
Good for you. Good for you. Congratulations, because that's a really big deal, with especially with I even hesitate to say the number, with 45,000 people dying a year of overdoses in this country. It absolutely is a crime.
It is. It's sad, and I didn't want to end up there, you know?
Matter of fact, a good friend of the show, her name is Kayla. Her best friend, a beautiful girl at 28 years old, put a needle in her arm and is now gone. It is so sad, and we as a country need to do more. And that's also why it's important for people to go to places like Behind the Power, and to get some courage to help each other, because to understand that we are all one, and that we're all in this mess together, and we need to help each other out.
We are. And, you know, if that's what I spoke on last year, was overcoming my drug addiction and my chronic illness. So if anybody out there is going through this, you can go over on my YouTube channel, Pause and Pedals, and watch my speech from last year. I know it was really impactful for people to listen, and you're not alone, and you can overcome this. You just need to make the decision that you want to live.
Because the alternative is, if you haven't done everything, see, I'm conflicted about that, because the alternative is death, but there is no death. But
No.
but the way I view it is, you don't. I'll give you an example. My brother-in-law was 42 years old when he committed suicide, and he was my age. And I was thinking I think about him every now and then, and I go, think about all the experiences that you have missed between 42 and now, both good and bad. And he was in a dark place at the time, but he wasn't able to say, like you have, to be able to say, I was in a dark place. I had just lost my wife, who had died of congestive heart failure. I owed the hospital $1 million because she was in the ICU for 4.5 months. And the girlfriend that I had after my wife passed away stole money from me and left, and I was about ready to lose my job. And my dad was mad at me, and he didn't have the good fortune to be able to say, I had all that, excuse the expression, all that shit going on, and I was then able to get through it. And now look at me today, and look at how I'm flying, just like how you're flying. That's in my mind, that's just a damn shame that he wasn't able to get through that, and to be able to stand there on the other side and say, I'm worth something, and I did it. Dang it, I did it. Yeah. So you should be very proud of who you are.
Thank you. And I am pretty proud of who I am. I've definitely come a long way. And excuse the expression, but I didn't go through all that shit to not help people overcome what they are going through.
I'm sorry, but sometimes there is no other word to use.
And that is the truth.
So it's good that that we're not judged by the language we use on this show. So we're good. I know. First of all, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. You guys have been supportive as anything for Carri and for this show, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart, all of you. most of you have been on the show. You guys are incredible human beings, I want to set myself aside for a couple of moments, Carri, to let you tell our audience, those that are listening now, and those that are going to be listening forever, anything that you would like them to know.
First off, I just want to thank you all for your love and support, for being here. I appreciate it more than you'll ever know. And I'm getting so emotional. So somebody out there definitely needs to hear this today. You are so magical. You have so much light inside of you. And it's time for you to start to fly now. This world needs you more than you could ever imagine. And no matter what you think that you have done that is so wrong in life, your mistakes don't define you. They have only made you into the person that you are today. And that person is a person who can help others with their light. So be magical. Embrace your uniqueness. We don't want everybody to be the same in this world. That would be so, so boring. And if you're feeling that fear to step out of your comfort zone, that's the time to jump, because that's when the great things come. And I really hope that I'll see some of you at the event in October. I would love to talk to you more there. I'd love to meet you in person. And I'll be having my own little breakout sessions there as well, where you can talk to me more about healing with nature or connecting with your intuition, whatever it is that you'd like to talk to me about. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, look at you. You've become a professional radio host. Congratulations. Good job.
Thanks. I think it's in my blood.
Yes. And indeed, when you're feeling like you were just a moment ago, there is indeed somebody that you will touch with that message. And you may never meet them. It may be in a year from now that they watch this episode or listen to this episode. And so you might not ever meet them, which is okay.
That is okay.
Because it's not our place to decide. We're in a judgment-free zone, so they can take that information and do exactly what they choose to do with it.
Exactly.
And it's perfect either way. But I implore you that if you want to live your best life, if you want to impact the most people, live your life to its fullest every day. I have a saying that your life is empty and meaningless. Like when you would wake up in the olden days and were in a dark place, and you would wake up and go, "Oh, my life is empty and it's meaningless." And now that I'm not in a dark place, so my life is now empty until I choose to fill it up with whatever I'm going to fill it up with, and it's meaningless until I assign meaning to it. No one else. It's mine.
That's right.
And so I want to thank you so much for being here. It has been my honor and my privilege to interview you again. So thank you so much. And by the way, go to AllisonRoberts.com. Go to Behind the Power. You can learn all about Carri and the other 12 people that she is going to be sharing the stage with. And I got to tell you, it's going to be in a beautiful hotel. You need to go there and stay the night there, because I think the best, most impactful things are going to happen between 5 o'clock at night and 11 o'clock at night after the conference, when everybody's sitting around having a cup of coffee or whatever they're choosing to have. So please do that. It will do your soul good. good. So, anything else you'd like to add before we go, my dear?
No, just thank you so much for having me back, Kevin. It's truly an honor for me to be here as well.
I tell you, you guys, all of you, and all of you that are listening, you have a carte blanche, an open invitation to come back on my show anytime you wish to. And if you've got an event coming up, if you've got, I don't know, if you're, whatever it is, just a chat. You guys are you're really cool people, and I really appreciate you. So again, thank you so much. And we'll have you carry your, and also obviously you are included in that group. So whenever you want to come back, I'm here. I ain't going anywhere. They won't let me. Although, never mind. I was going to say I'll be out of prison in 5 years, but I wasn't going to say. I'm not going to say that. So thank you everybody for listening. And Carrie, if you'll stay right there, and I'll be right back.
All right.
Hey, thanks for enjoying this episode all the way to the end. Please give us a like and subscribe to this channel. This has been a production of PositiveTalkRadio.net. Please visit our website, oddly named PositiveTalkRadio.net, for more details about us and our mission, which is to provide great positive programming designed to inspire us all. I'm Kevin McDonald, and I'm proud of these shows, and I truly hope that you'll like them and share them with friends and family. So on behalf of our entire team, remember, be kind to one another, because